Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Super Bowl 2023 postgame only on the Mr. Camilleri Show YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Super Bowl postgame with Mr. C. So in this postgame, I will be breaking down some key stats between the quarterbacks. I will be breaking down the final score. And I will be ending the stream with a performance of the song We Are the Champions, a remix of We Are the Champions in honor of the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, so this was a game to remember, neck and neck. You saw the halftime show. You saw the completion percentages of both quarterbacks. And now I am going to rock out with the end game stats. So 38-35 was the final score. I'm going to start out with the stats from the quarterback. So Patrick Mahomes completed 21 out of 27 passes. So now I'm going to show you the math involved in figuring out his completion percentage. So we are going to do 27. I want to write it nice enough so y'all can see it. 27 divided by 21, decimal point 000. All right, so the steps for long division: we divide, we multiply, we subtract, and we bring down. So starting out, we always want to start with the smallest number possible. And even though we are dividing with decimals in this problem, we're going to add the decimals and move the decimal point over at the very, very end. We're going to start off dividing just as we will with whole numbers. We're going to pretend that we're working with whole numbers, and then at the very end, we will add in the decimal. All right. So the smallest number that I can get within the square here is 210. So 210 divided by 27. So I am going to skip count by 27s. I'm going to see how many groups of 27 can I get into the number 210. Now, I'm fluent enough where I can skip count in my head, and it makes it a lot easier if you've mastered the art of skip counting. If you have not mastered the art of skip counting, what you would need to do is continuously add 27 each time. So 27, 54. Again, if you don't instantly know that 27 plus 27 is 54, you would have to do that out. Then if you do 54 plus 27, you can figure out what the next number is. 81, 108, 135, 162, 189, Now, if I 189 plus 27, if I skip count by 27 again, I'm going to be at 216, and 216 is more than 210. 216 would be too far. So I have to figure out how many times do I need to count by 27. How many groups of 27 was I able to get within 210 without going over 210? So I'm going to count my groups right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 27 goes into 210 7 times. Now, the closest number I could get to 210 was 189. That's as close as I could get. Because if I count by 27 again after being on 189, I'm at 216, and that's too far. That passes 210. So 210 minus 189. That would equal 21. I have to bring down 0 again. Again, 227 goes into 210 7 times. 210 minus 189 equals 21. If I bring down the 0 again, same number, 27 goes into 210 7 times. So 77 with a remainder of 21. So that's difficult to see, so let me write it out so you can see it. So my answer ended up being 777, the remainder 21. Now, since the decimal point is moved over, since we were doing $2100s, I have to move the decimal point over here. So Mahomes' percentage was 777 thousandths, which converts to 77.7%. So Mahomes went 21 out of 27, and he had a 77.7% completion rate. I'm going to write that a little bit neater so y'all can clearly see it. That's his pass completion. All right, next, we're going to look at Jalen Hurts. Jay Hurts completed 27 out of 38 passes. Ay, Dios mío. So to figure out his completion percentage, we are going to do 38 divided by 27.000 thousandths. Want to make this close so y'all can see it. Huge shout out to everybody in the chat. Please hit that like button if you have not already. I appreciate it. All right. So the first step, We got to divide by the smallest number possible. So the smallest number possible here is 270. So we got to figure out how many times 38 goes into 270. So we got to skip count by 38s. If you're not able to do that in your head, what you would need to do is add 38 plus 38. And then once you get your answer to 38 plus 38, you would have to add 38 to that. You would have to continuously add 38 until you saw how many groups of 38 went into 270. I've mastered the art of skip counting, so that makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to count by 38s here. Ready? 38, 76, 114, 152, 190, 228, 'll try to bring it as close as I can. I know the numbers are a little tough to see there. 266. All right. Now, if I count by 38 again, I'm going to be over 270. So we got as close as we could to 270 without going over. Now I'm going to count my groups. Figure out how many groups of 38 I could get into 270. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 38 goes into 270 7 times. Since 266 was the closest I got to 270, (270 minus 266 equals 4). I'm going to bring down the 0. 38 goes into 40 one time. 40 minus 38 equals 2. Bringing down the 0. 38 goes into 20 0 times. We can't get any groups of 38 within the number 20. So 20 minus 0 equals 20. So we have 710 thousandths with a remainder of 20. Since the decimal points here, we have to line it up top. So J Hertz completion percentage was 710 thousandths, which translate 710 thousandths as a decimal translates to 71%. So as far as pass completions, Mahomes pass completion was about almost 7% higher. Mahomes' pass completion rate was 77.7%, whereas Jay Hertz was 71%. Now, Mahomes did complete less passes. He was 21 out of 27 passes complete versus 27 out of 38 passes complete. So Jay Hertz completed 6 more passes. But as far as pass percentage, Mahomes was a little bit higher. Part of having a high pass percentage has to do with how well the quarterback throws the football, but part of it also has to do with how well the receiver catches the football. If you have really good receivers, a quality receiver can catch a subpar pass and make the quarterback look really, really good. If you have a really, really elite receiver, your pass completion percentage can look better than you are. Now, both these were Super Bowl teams, so not knowing the dynamics, not knowing the individual stats of each player, I'm assuming that both teams had very, very good wide receivers. All right, as far as yards, so I'm going to set this up a little bit so it's a little easier for y'all to see. Don't forget, at the end of comparing all these stats, we are going to end the video with some fun. Going to end this video with a remix of the We Are the Champions song to honor the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, so P. Mahomes, Jay Hurts, so PC stands for pass completion, 77.7%. Jay Hurts, 71.0%. Now, as far as yards, Jay Hurts threw for 304 yards. Mahomes threw for 182 yards. So there is math there. I'm going to have to do 304 minus 182. And don't forget to tune in. Once I'm done crunching all these numbers, I am going to end this live stream with a remix of We Are the Champions. I'm going to sing the song. You can tell me if I'm a better singer than Rihanna or not. All right. 104 minus 182. 4 minus 2 equals 2. You can't take away 8 if you're starting with 0. 8's more than 0, so you have to take a 10. So the 3 is going to become a 2. 0 is going to become a 10. 10 minus 8 equals 2. 2 minus 1 equals 1. So 122 more yards. Jay Hurts threw for 122 more yards. Now, if we look at touchdowns, Mahomes had 3 touchdowns. Jay Hurts had 1 touchdown. Three minus 1, that's easy math for all of you. 3 minus 1 equals 2. So Mahomes threw for 2 more touchdowns than Jay Hurts. Now, if we look at team stats, look at where the disadvantages were. I'm going to put up the team stats next, and then I'm going to end this video with the remix. So neck and neck game for the quarterbacks, but it is a team game. Really great game by both teams. Really could have gone either way. If I want to look at where Kansas City had an advantage, Philly, KC. So Kansas City allowed 0 sacks. Philadelphia allowed 2 sacks. So a sack is when the defense is able to get by the offensive lineman. The offensive lineman their job is to block to keep the defense from getting through. If the defense is able to get through and tackle the quarterback, that's considered a sack. There weren't very many sacks in this game. The offensive linemen on both teams did a very good job, but Philadelphia allowed 2 sacks on their quarterback. Kansas City allowed 0. Fumbles. For those of you unfamiliar with football, most of you are familiar, but for those of you unfamiliar, a fumble is when somebody's running with the football and then they lose the football and they lose possession of the ball. Philly had 1 fumble. Kansas City, 0 fumbles. Penalties. I'm going to write PENS as an abbreviation, but the abbreviation for PENS, I'm talking about penalties here. So PENS, that's an abbreviation for penalties. So in football, a penalty or a foul, usually what happens with a penalty is other extra yards are given to the other team. For example, you're not allowed to hold. If somebody is running to get open and you're the defense, you're not allowed to hold and keep the guy from running. That's a penalty. And if you get called for a penalty, if you get flagged, usually it's 10 additional yards for the offensive team. That's just one example of a penalty. There's more. But 6 penalties to 3 penalties, 1 fumble to 0 fumbles, 2 sacks allowed to 0 sacks allowed. So those are some of the disadvantages that cost Philly the game. Now, there were areas where Philly had the advantage. Philly did have more possession of the football. Philly did throw for more passing yards, but sometimes it's just one small thing. Sometimes if a team is able to find 1 or 2 areas to dominate in or be ahead in, that's enough to win the game. So I'll be honest, I'm not a football expert. My sports growing up were basketball and powerlifting. Basketball, powerlifting, and Olympic weightlifting. Those are my sports. Football, I know the basics, but I'm not an expert in football. I'm not going to try to be. But from an outsider looking in, these are just a few of the disadvantages I noticed that may have cost Philadelphia the game. But great game by both quarterbacks. Great hard-fought game by both teams. Very entertaining to watch. And I'm going to close this live stream with some entertainment. We're going to set up, and I'm going to end this video with a remix of We Are the Champions to honor the Kansas City Chiefs. And even though I'm not on the Kansas City Chiefs in this remix, I'm going to be singing as if I'm actually part of the team, even though I'm not. right. Now, without further ado, the remix of We Are the Champions to honor the Kansas City Chiefs, performed by Mr. Camilleri. We run our routes time after time. We racked up touchdowns 'cause Patrick Mahomes is prime time. And bad mistakes, Philly made very few. The Eagles played great, but the Chiefs were a nay because we do what we do. And the song be going on and on and on and on. But we are the champions, my friends. 'Cause we kept on fighting till the end. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losing because we are the champions of the world. I want to commend both teams for an amazing game of football, and my very, very most sincere congratulations to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. That is my live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Thank you for making this one of the best shows in the history of television. It's probably not the best show in the history of television, but I'm saying that it is just for posterity. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.